All yours, John. Come on in, brother.
Good evening, everybody. John Frazier, recovered alcoholic. First of all, Eric, thank you so much for the invite. He's right. We do live about 15 minutes apart, and my sponsor knows Eric's father, but I've never met either one. So be it. It's just that's the nature of the beast here. Anyway, a couple of years ago, I was leading a big book study for a group out of well, it's actually the oh man, brain fart here. The Lovey's group. Anyway, I was leading that big book study for weeks, and then shortly after that, Eric came on, and that's really the first I met Eric. And so, and great guy. He's right. We do keep in contact, and definitely, definitely a good part of my life. And also, I want to welcome all of the new people here, our new friends at this meeting tonight. I hope I don't scare you away. I don't think I will because um, this tradition tells us that the main purpose of an AA group, the sole purpose of an AA group, is to carry the message to the still suffering alcoholic. And that's all I have to do. It doesn't state that I need to be eloquent, that I need to use 50-cent words, that I need to do anything else but carry not my message, but AA's message. And that message is a message of hope and recovery. And it is through recovery, the 12-step program of recovery, that I can gain hope. And so, what a great program that this is. My sobriety date is May 3rd, 1992. I have a sponsor. He has a sponsor. He has a sponsor. I have sponsees. They have sponsees, and they have sponsees. And so it's all part of this great recovery group that I get to participate in. I am truly blessed. My home group, it was on the flyer, is the Believing Group. It meets on Saturday nights in Yardville, New Jersey. And it's a great group focused on step two. Anyone who was here last week and listened to Sarah, I'll tell you, folks, that was intimidating because she is one tough cookie to follow. So I'm just hoping that I can do the best that I can. And anybody that gets a chance to listen to Sarah, Sarah I from Philadelphia, by all means, do it. What a message that woman carries. One of my favorite passages in the big book, this is from almost from day one, is on page 73. It's saying that more than most people, the alcoholic leads a double life. He is very much the actor. To the outer world, he presents a stage character, but deep down inside, he knows that that's something he does not deserve. So, now I'm paraphrasing there. And I felt that way long before I came into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. I felt that way when I was probably about 7 years old. I was hearing stuff at my home, John, what's wrong with you? John, what's your problem? John, what were you thinking? And from that message, all I got was, I'm somehow defective. I'm not like other people, what I would call normal people. So there's something wrong with me. And, so now I'm getting this religious training, and they're saying, oh, I'm made in God's image. By the way, can everybody hear me okay? An image, thank you. An image and likeness of God. That's a bunch of crap. You know, here I am. I'm defective, and God supposedly is perfect. So I'm not made in His image. So what kind of line of crap are they trying to feed me? So at 8 years old, religion was out of my life. Let alone the fact that we had this man of the cloth who had to climb a spiral staircase to get to the pulpit. And he was fire and brimstone. And if you do this, your soul will burn for hell in eternity. And if you don't do this, you will suffer eternal damnation. And he's going on with all this fire and brimstone. And then what I remember is at the very end, he's saying, and God loves you. This is crap. This is bull. Where are they getting this stuff from? So, my concept of God was based on that formula, and it stayed that way until I came into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous 35 years later. Long, long time to have no God in your life. So I'm not really blaming anybody for the childhood that I had. That's not the whole intent of this at all. What I'm trying to point out is that because of those because of that criticism, it hurt so much to try to love somebody that I learned not to love people. I would just stay by myself, leave me alone. I don't want to hear anything from anybody. Thank you very much, but I'm fine. And I wasn't fine, but I was using that as an excuse just to build a wall up around myself. Now, that might have worked when I was 7 or 8 years old, but when I grew older and I had kids and I had wives and I had jobs and I had all of these other things where I needed to interact and communicate with other people, it didn't work so well. Not a good foundation at all for relationships. I also backed away if people got too close to me, which is the same thing, really. It's like, okay, I'll let you in a little bit, but not too much. I don't want you to really get to know me. Why? Because I'm defective. I don't want you to know that I'm defective. So I can't express love either verbally or even through actions because I don't know how. It's never been expressed to me, and I've never expressed it to anybody else. The only time I ever said anything about love was when I wanted to take a woman to bed. And that was it. That was it. And my first wife had been married before. She had 2 kids. And one day she came to me and said, you're going to have to tell those kids you love them. And my jaw probably dropped. So, what? I can't do that. So, a day or two later, putting the kids to bed, and I told them I loved them. And I turned around and looked at the front door, or looked down the stairs towards the front door, because I expected after saying that to kids, I would have family services busting down the door, to take me up, lock me up, and put me in jail because I'm saying love to 2 young kids. And that's just the insanity. That's my thinking was so crazy. And I'm still years away from getting into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm separate from God. I'm telling myself I can manage by myself. I don't need his guidance. And from 8 years old on, being that I felt defective, I don't consider myself to be an egomaniac with the inferiority complex like we hear so much in the rooms. I was more of the perfectionist with the inferiority complex because I didn't want anybody to know about my defects. So if I did everything perfectly, they wouldn't see any defects in me at all. So I'm the all-star athlete, the grade A student, president of student council, National Honor Society, all this other crap is what it is really. But that was me putting up this facade. And that's, again, where page 73 comes in, because I'm leading that double life. I'm trying to be perfect, but deep down inside, I'm living with this fear. The fear you're going to find out who I am, what I am. I'm living with guilt because I know that I'm putting up this facade. It's just all of this turmoil that's inside of me that I can't let loose until I had a drink. And all of a sudden, with that drink, I was, total relief. Alcohol was not my problem, it was my solution. And it stayed that way for a long, long, long time. By the time I graduated from high school, I was barely getting by because of my drinking. Got into college with a scholarship and flunked out after 2 years. That's how bad things had gotten with me and my drinking. After flunking out, I won this one-way, well, it wasn't one way. I won this wonderful vacation in the sunny paradise of South Vietnam. Sunny skies, nice temperatures, sandy beaches, miles and miles of walking trails, and fireworks every night. How can you go wrong? And so doing a year in Vietnam, when I came back, I was really, really messed up. And a woman took me hostage, this first wife I was talking about. I couldn't tell her what was going on between my ears. I couldn't tell her what I was thinking. I couldn't tell her about the things I was experiencing because I felt that if I did, she would say, John, get the hell out of here. I don't want you anywhere near the kids. I don't want you in my life. Just leave. And so I couldn't talk to anybody about that. I just tried to keep it in myself. And again, more and more drinking. Now, the reason I'm explaining all this is it does not make me an alcoholic, but it does contribute greatly to my spiritual malady. And we're always talking about the physical craving and the mental obsession, being dynamics of the alcoholic disease. But the page on page 64 is saying when the spiritual malady is overcome, we straighten out mentally and physically. So, it is that third dynamic of the disease. I hated myself, really. I hated my life. I hated myself. And alcohol was the only thing that I could turn to that would help me feel better, make me feel better. So is it part of my alcoholism? Certainly. I think that we all suffer from a spiritual malady, some more dangerous than others, but so be it. So be it. A lot of crazy stuff when I was drinking, when I was younger. I ended up with a vehicle that did not, well, somehow just jumped into in front of my house and paid for it. And it wasn't mine, never was mine, but got it illegally. And I had to wait to get the registration for it. This is in upstate New York. And waiting for that registration, I can't wait any longer. I want to drive this. This is my new vehicle. I want to drive it. So I cut a coupon out of a weekly flyer from the grocery store, taped that to the windshield. Now I was going to tell the cops that that was my temporary registration. Now that's how burned out and messed up. I want to try to keep this clean. That's how screwed up I was. I'm driving around in a stolen vehicle with a grocery store coupon for the registration. And this is just complete insanity. Complete insanity. Doing all sorts of weird stuff. I'm not going to get into it. We all have our drunkalogs. I don't come here to talk about drunkalogs. I really come here to talk about recovery. I know about drunkalogs. You know about drunkalogs. I come here to learn about recovery. What it takes for me to get sober and stay sober. What it takes for me to carry this message, to pass it on to other people, to work with others, to do all sorts of things that this program, they say suggests, I say mandates. No, I have to do this stuff. I cannot sit on the sidelines and watch AA fly by me without doing anything on my own, without contributing at all. I need to be an active member of Alcoholics Anonymous in every way I can. I will never be able to repay Alcoholics Anonymous for what it's given me, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to try. Not going to try at all. So 1992, shortly before my sobriety date, I'm drinking to kill the pain, and the alcohol is not killing the pain. I'm putting away over a handle of vodka every single day. And it's not working. I would drink till I passed out. I'd come to, start drinking again till I passed out, and then come to and just repeat that cycle over and over and over and over, just trying to kill the pain because I hated myself so much. And that's what a bottom is. Bottom is no, I lost the car, I lost the job, I lost the wife. No, that's not your bottom. Bottom is when I look in a mirror or when I think of my life that I hate myself so much that I want to put a pistol to my head, throw a rope over a limb, jump in front of a train, do something, anything, just to end the pain of being me. That is bottom, folks. It was for me. It might not be for you, but believe me, people talk about relapse, and I don't ever, ever, ever want to pick up a drink knowing that it's going to get me feeling that way all over again. No, thank you. I do not want to feel that pain ever, ever, ever again. So I came into, let me backtrack a little bit. My wife was leaving. This is wife number 2. And she, as she was leaving, she said, maybe you should try to quit drinking. You could go to AA. I don't need AA. I can quit on my own. And I knew that was bull. But nevertheless, I had to put up some kind of defense. And she played right along with it. She says, well, maybe you can. But if there's a program that's going to help you to stop drinking, doesn't it make sense to take advantage of it? And I immediately said, because I had no answer. I always had an answer for something, but boy, she had me stumped on that one. So in the whole course of that, my last day drinking, I had this plan. I was going to try to make my life somewhat worthwhile by wrapping the car around a tree so that my death would look like an accident. I had contemplated, the shotgun in my mouth and all the other things, but I'm going to try to make this look like an accident so that maybe somebody can get some insurance money out of the deal. That was my best alcoholic thinking on the day prior to coming into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. I used to say that the great I, backed off. I was going to wrap the car around this great big old gnarly elm tree that was on the road that I lived in, right by a pet cemetery. And I used to say I backed off at the last minute. Well, today I say that God did. That I had nothing to do with that whatsoever, that God had a reason for me to continue living. And part of that reason is to be here tonight, is to carry the message of hope and recovery that we find in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. If we came in and there was no hope, if there was no recovery, how many of you would stay? You'd be, hey, see ya, but this isn't for me. We want not only to recover and have hope, but not be a glum lot and enjoy life as it is today. Page 133, we are not a glum lot. I need to follow the precepts of Alcoholics Anonymous to have the great life that I have today. So anyway, I came in off the streets, did not come in through a rehab. I knew nothing about anything at all. I didn't know what alcoholism was. I didn't know anything about the craving, the obsession. I didn't know anything about what AA, what alcoholism was, or I didn't know anything about anything. I was just completely ignorant. So it was probably pretty good that I was. I walk into this room and everybody's laughing and having a good time. And in my mind, I'm thinking, what the hell are they smoking? Because nobody can be that happy, let alone all of these people happy at once. Something is going on here. But the thing that happened at my very first meeting was that people welcomed me. That hadn't happened in a long, long time. People usually said, get the hell out of here and don't come back. People not only made me feel welcome, but when I left, they said, keep coming back. I hadn't heard that in a long, long time either. What I'd heard was, don't come back, ever. And I'll tell you, I walked into that meeting thinking that, oh my God, Alcoholics bleeping Anonymous. Can things be any bleeping worse? Oh my God, what have I done to myself that I'm going into the rooms of AA? Bleep me. Well, that's how screwed up my thinking was. I thought that it was the worst thing that could ever happen to me, that it was the worst day of my life, and I had no idea what I was in for. I look back today and I say as often as I can, AA is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Therefore, that was not the worst day of my life. It was the best day of my life, and I didn't even know it. Today, thank God for Alcoholics Anonymous. So, this guy who'd won an academic scholarship from high school got into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I could not read. I could read, I could recognize the words. I even knew what some of them meant, but I'd get to the end of a paragraph and I had no idea of what I had read. My reading comprehension was shot out. It was gone. I could not remember anything. I was just fried. I really did a number on myself with all the stuff that I had ingested. When the fog finally did start to lift, after quite some time, probably took a couple of months anyway, that, I'm hearing things, I'm in a big book study and reading things, and I'm hearing things like, well, if when you honestly want to, you have a little control over the amount you take, and that's the craving, the allergy. Or if when drinking, you have a little control, cannot quit entirely, that's the obsession. Or when drinking, you have a little control over the amount you take. And that is the craving and the allergy. Then you're probably alcoholic. Now, they say that if you have one or the other, you're alcoholic. Well, I've got both. It means I'm screwed. I'm an alcoholic. And Bill, being very polite about the whole thing, doesn't want to say, you're an alcoholic. You're probably alcoholic. You have to make that decision for yourself. So anyway, and then it goes on to say, if that's the case, you may be suffering from an illness, which only, big four-letter word there, only a spiritual experience will conquer. That's There's so much that I had to learn about myself and about alcoholism when I came in. Um, the book tells me over and over and over that I need to build a relationship with God, that I must, not should, but I must build a relationship with God if I ever want to have serene, peaceful, quality sobriety. I may be able to make it, maybe without God, but why take the chance? In that very first meeting that I went to, I could see the power of God. It was in you people. You're the ones who gave me hope because you're laughing, because you're smiling, because you're having a good time, because you're saying that you're not drinking and you're enjoying life. Now, here I am, who had relied on alcohol all my life as a solution, and now you're telling me, put that solution down. We have a substitute. Oh, really? What's your substitute? Well, the substitute's the 12-step program of Alcoholics Anonymous. I work those 12 steps. I'm going to feel better than any drink, any drug, all of them combined. If I were to take them, I'm going to feel better than that by working the 12-step program of Alcoholics Anonymous. You never would have gotten me to believe that until I actually experienced it. So the lack of power, that was my dilemma. But where and how do I find that power? That's exactly what the book is about. The big book of Alcoholics Anonymous tells me where and how I'm going to find God. Its main object is to enable you to find a power greater than yourself, keywords here, which will solve your problem. Doesn't say might solve your problem, doesn't say may solve your problem, doesn't say could solve your problem. It says will solve your problem. And again, I didn't think that was possible either. But regardless, when I hit my bottom, I was finally at the point where I had turned God away for 35 years. I had turned people away for longer than that. And when I got to the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, I couldn't even depend on myself. So when you've got no God, no other people in your life, and you can't even rely on yourself, you are hopeless. You have nowhere to turn and nowhere to get any relief. You folks are screwed. And that's the way I felt when I came into the rooms of AA. I also learned that deep down in every man, woman, and child is a fundamental idea of God, but it's obscured, which means blocked, by calamity, pomp, and worship of other things. Calamity is another word for chaos. My life was full of it. Pomp is nothing more than ego, and I had enough of that too. Worship of other things, that one had me stumped for a while. What do you mean worship other things? I'm not worshiping anything. Well, anything that I put ahead of God, before God, however you want to phrase that. If my life, my happiness, my serenity, my peace of mind, my sobriety is based on another person, a woman, a job, my financial situation, the amount of exercise I get, whatever. Any of these things that I place in front of God, I am worshiping. I'm worshiping those things instead of worshiping God. And today I know better. Today I know that the answer to all of my problems comes from God. Absolutely no doubt about it. Comes from God. So if I had written the 12 steps, they would have sounded, and this is not a put down of the 10 commandments. Please don't take that wrong. If I were to write the 12 steps, they would read like the 10 commandments. Thou shalt not drink, thou shalt not have liquor in thy house, thou shalt not go into bars. Crap is what it is. And thank God, and this is how I know that Bill had divine inspiration when he was writing the 12 steps. God had an active hand in that, simply because the 12 steps are based on relationships. Relationships with myself, with God, with my fellow human beings. The 12 steps are based on relationships. And when I rectify, when I correct, when I straighten out all of those relationships that I have, I'm going to have a better life. And when I have that better life, I'm not going to want to screw it up by picking up a drink. It's just that simple. This is not about willpower. People say, people tell newcomers, well, just don't drink and go to meetings. Well, that's willpower. That didn't work for me before. How's it going to work for me now? It won't. People are saying, take what you need and leave the rest. This is talked about right before the meeting. If I'm new, I don't know what I need. You're telling me take what I need and leave the rest? What? I don't know. Come on. Give me a hint, will you? All sorts of garbage that is spewed forth in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. Our message must come from the program, not from, oh, I like that. It sounds nice. It rhymes. It's this or that. No, if it's not from the literature, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I'm definitely just deep down into the literature, studying the program so that I can hopefully stay sober one day at a time. So anyway, the 12 steps could be the opportunity to repair these relationships that I've destroyed and also develop new relationships based on honesty, consideration, and trust, and by overcoming my vulnerability, that vulnerability I had since I was 7 or 8 years old. I'm taking a look, I need the foundation. Step one, that I'm admitting I'm powerless over alcohol, my life's unmanageable. So I stopped drinking. And my life's unmanageable. I need a new manager. That's step 3 to me. Turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understand him. And it says immediately after that, next, words from the big book, next, we take this inventory. We take a look at the character defects that have caused me to have problems with loved ones, with other people in my life. And once I put that all down on paper and take a look at what my active role in that situation is, I take that to God and then to my sponsor. I know the big book says you can take it to anybody. But yeah, well, that was when the book was written in 1939, and you didn't have a sponsor on every street corner. Today, we have sponsors. They're all over the place. You should be using that sponsor. If you have a problem on your 4th and 5th step with your wife, your ex-wife, or your wife, okay, or your spouse, your significant other, and you do that 5th step with a man of the cloth or a lawyer or a doctor, you have another problem with that spouse. Do you think when you call up at 2 o'clock in the morning because you're ready to blow her brains out, that the doctor's going to answer, the man of the cloth is going to answer? No, these people are not answering their phones at 2 o'clock in the morning. But if my sponsor is aware of the problems that I have had in my relationships, and I call him at 2 o'clock in the morning, he's going to answer. And he's going to know exactly what's going on and what I need to do because he's familiar with my situation. We need to do that 5th step with our sponsor. Now, I would take a look at it. Step 6, kind of like coming to a fork in the road. And I have a choice. I can go one way or the other. I can take this path, which is telling me that I'm going to have the same problems, the same situations that I've always had because I'm going to be doing the same things. Or I can take this path, which you people, the book, the program, everything tells me that I'm going to have peace of mind, happiness, and serenity. Now, let me scratch my head on that one for a couple days, will you? I need to figure this one out. It's a no-brainer, folks. It's a no-brainer. If I take a look at those character defects, I should know which way I want to go. And then in 7, I humbly ask God to remove those character defects that stand in the way of my usefulness to him, because I can't remove them on my own. And I don't get to pick and choose which ones he's going to take. This is all part of step 3. Is God everything or is he nothing? What's my choice to be? Either he is or he isn't. Now, everybody says, I hope everybody says, well, he's everything. You don't want to give the wrong answer and say, he's nothing. That just doesn't cut it. Oh, God's everything in my life. Then we turn around and still try to run our own lives, control everything, control other people. It does not work, folks. When God's everything, I'm out of the control business. I'm done. God, take it away, please. It's yours. Will thy will, not mine, be done. It's just that simple, because I can't control all of those things. So I've got these character defects. And I list the people that I have the list, but I'm making a list of the people that I need to make amends to. Step 9, I go out and actually start making those amends. And I do that with complete honesty, complete willingness to take care of everything, to clean off my side of the street. I want to have a good life. I want to be at peace. I don't want to be walking down the street and see somebody that I've offended or I've robbed before and have to like look at my shoes or turn around and walk in the other direction. I want to be able to hold my head up high, be at peace, and know that I care about myself and that God loves me. It's just that easy. And that's by taking step 9. Now, that's all great and well, but there's more work that's involved. This is not maintenance. Step 10 is, if you take a look at step 10 in the big book, it's really steps 4 through 9. And if I'm having a problem, if Eric and I have a disagreement at 8 o'clock in the morning, I don't need to wait until I do my inventory at 11 o'clock at night. I can take a look at that, and this is what's happening. If I have to put it down on paper, so be it. I put it down on paper. I take a look at it. I call my sponsor, step 5, take it to another person and say, hey, sponsor, this is what's going on, Eric and I. And so I take a look at the character defects that I have that have contributed to the problems I'm having with Eric. This is my inventory, not his. I can't control him, but I can control myself. Well, maybe not. But anyway, so my sponsors, if I've harmed Eric, I need to go back to him immediately and make amends for the harms that I've done. I left one out. I left one step out, and that is that I asked God to remove the character defect that caused me to have a problem with Eric. I go back to him, I make the amends, and by 10 after 8, quarter after 8, everything's fine. Everything, I don't have to go for the rest of the day. Oh, that if he ever tries that, no, I can have a great day if I choose to utilize the program. And 11, I'm taking the inventory, not at night, well, yeah, at night, but also just to take a look at everything that I could, not only where I went wrong, but also where I can improve my life. I need to constantly be on the vigil for what can I do to make things better. Step 12. Now, if I've taken those first 11 steps, step 12 is I've had a spiritual awakening. It's going to happen, folks, whether you like it or not. If you work those first 11 steps, you will have that spiritual awakening. So what's that mean? Well, having had that spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, that's the spiritual awakening that we're talking about. I try to carry this message to other alcoholics. Okay, well, here's the thing, folks. We all have the capability of carrying the message. We all have something that nobody else in this world has. Nobody. Doctors don't have it. Men of the cloth don't have it. Lawyers don't have it. These people don't have it unless they are alcoholic. But we have this one thing nobody else has, and that's alcoholism. We know what it feels like to be alcoholic, to have alcoholism destroy our lives. So that when I see that new guy walk into my meeting room, I can walk up to him and say, welcome, come on in. I know exactly how you feel. Those other people can't say that, but I can. I know how you feel. Sit down, relax, have a cup of coffee, try to relate, don't compare, all the other things that we talk about. Even better, not only do I know how he feels then, but I'm the only person on this earth, not the only person, we are the only people on this earth that have experienced recovery. recovery from that seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. I can look that guy square in the eye and say, there is a solution. And it's right here in this book. You know, get the book, read it, follow the instructions that are in the book, because that's where the instructions for working the program are, in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. There is a solution. And I didn't know that when I came in. I imagine most people don't know that there is a solution. Thank God there is. Thank God there is, because you see, I always heard in meetings that, you know, alcoholism was a gift. And prior to getting that explanation of it, I was thinking, hey, alcoholism is a gift? What else do you have? Cancer? The plague? You got any other gifts you want to give me? No, the gift is simply that we can carry the message. We can save lives. We can turn lives around. We can do all sorts of things by working with others. Other people don't have that opportunity that we have. And thank God that we do have it. And so, recovery and hope are AA's message. We get those through the 12 steps. And we also assure the continuation of our wonderful program, this awesome program, through the 12 traditions and the 12 concepts. It's our responsibility. All the old timers are gone. You know, Bill and Bob and Hank Parkhurst, and all those people are gone. It's up to us now to assure that this program is here for a long, 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 long time. Long after I'm gone, I hope that this program is still here, so that my children, my children's children, your children, anybody who needs it is going to have the opportunity to get sober just like we have had. We cannot deprive them of that through our selfishness, through our self-centeredness, through anything else. Adhering to the traditions, we will keep this program going. Now, again, I'm the guy who came into AA thinking it was the worst day of my life. And I said it before, I'll say it again. Thank God for AA. It's not the worst thing that's ever happened to me. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. That's all I've got. Thank you so much.